Okay, we should be all set.
Okie doke.
All right, so we're here with Jules, and welcome, Jules. This is Pop Goes Big Brother Canada. I play on words, obviously, to popgoesculture.com, and we're going to be dissecting everything Big Brother Canada. Today we're going to be dissecting the premiere episode, and Jules this year we're going to be talking about the premiere, what we liked, what we didn't like, and just kind of what happened, and give you guys a rundown of what's going on. Jules, how did you enjoy the episode? How did you like it?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was a great premiere episode. Loved it.
Awesome. Anything that you took away right away that you just absolutely loved right off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, there were so many, things I loved about it, but I would have to say the number one thing I loved was them starting out with absolutely nothing. How cool is that? I just thought that was awesome. And hopefully from the way they made it sound, they have to earn stuff. So I hope we don't, get live feeds and they have everything, Wednesday night. So I hope that's not the case. I really hope they have to work for some stuff.
Oh yeah, and I agree as well. It's funny that you mentioned that because sometimes you'll see, certain stuff they show on the show, and they're maybe a couple days or half a week behind, and then you go watch the live feeds and they've got all their stuff, or you find out, who's lost in luxury competitions because they're wearing, the suits or whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on that aspect. So we start off the show with the house guest intros. They introduce the house guests in little chunks here and there, as they usually do, in just 3 set groups. Anyone off the bat that kind of stood out for you, either in a negative aspect or in a positive aspect?
I actually kind of like Naisha. I guess I'm saying that right. Neha, I don't know. I'm not pronouncing them all correctly, but Naisha, I guess, is how they said it. Naisha, I think. Look, I'm writing notes, you guys, and I'm writing little nicknames for people and stuff, trying to remember them all. I have my cheat sheets here. Everybody can see. So,
well, you have to. I'm not a name guy. I'm like, I can describe someone to you to a T, like what they look like, what they're wearing. But in terms of names, unless they do something that's very unforgettable, I'll forget. I have no idea what's going on with names. Anyone that stood out to you in a positive aspect? Anyone that you didn't like right off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, Risha, we got to start talking about Risha. I mean, oh my goodness. This girl is 6 foot how many inches? I'm not even sure how many inches, but she's already a very, very tall woman, so she's going to stand out anyway. And then to, be half naked right off the bat, how could she not stand out like a sore thumb? I just, and for them to go in on day one and have to vote somebody out just based on first appearances, that was not smart at all.
Yeah, well, it's funny when I was watching it my brother had come downstairs, and they're showing them even before they went in the house, and right away he goes, "Wow, that girl's really tall," just in comparison of everyone else that was on the stage. So it's definitely, she's the oldest in the house. She's 41, and that's not old by any means, but she is the oldest in the house in terms of the demographic. It looks like the show is definitely catered to a younger audience this year. It always was, but I think more so now this year than ever, because we only have Risha that's 41, and I think there's someone else that may be in their 30s, and the rest are in their 20s. So it's a younger group of house guests this year. It's going to be entertaining, that's for sure. Casting that casts all the Big Brother US shows does it for Big Brother Canada as well. So it's been great. The formula has worked every season up until now, so it's going to work again this year. So it's going to be really interesting to see the dynamic between the younger house guests and the older house guests.
Well, and Bruno's the 31-year-old, and just I'm assuming, again, just because of his age, he got a lot of votes too. And I mean, thank goodness he didn't get as many as the other 2 girls got, but Bruno got a lot of votes, and again, it's because of the age. And I don't understand that. I mean, I like Bruno. I think he's a cool guy. He's got a wife and kids, and I think he was kind of cool. And I'm like, why are they voting out based on age? That made absolutely no sense to me, because those are good floaters to have around. They're no threat. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. And I know I was mentioning that to you earlier today as well, is that you would want to keep those people around, because if I was one of the younger guys and I know I had an older guy with me, I'd keep them around. I'd keep them on the DL. You never know what alliances can be made with them. You know, you'll have your younger group of guys that you maybe will hang out with. Well, you can keep those guys kind of in your back pocket. The interesting thing as well is that, you know, not too many people know this about him that's in the house. We obviously saw this in terms of his intro house guest video, is that he's a huge gamer. And he can connect with those younger guys in the house because of that. So it'd be interesting to see what's happening there. In terms of me, for the couple of people that stood out for me, for the positive aspects, for the girls, Willow really stood out to me. She's a really active one, the snowboarder, the tomboy. She was taking cold showers even before getting into the house, studying all the past seasons. So hopefully she goes really, really far. Hopefully she doesn't turn annoying. Like, it's the first episode. We don't know too much about these people. So it's funny how you can think, you know, in terms of looks or just in terms of the little bit that you get, but then once the people start living and their guards are down, the real personalities come out. So it's interesting to see how that happens. So she's one for the girls. Another one for me for the guys, I believe, was Hey, Jules.
Okay,
sorry about that. I got disconnected for some reason. Yeah, we're back. I got disconnected for some reason.
Okay.
I don't think they wanted me to talk about the guys. That's what was going on. So the guys for me that stood out, at least for me right away off the bat, was, I know I have my cheat sheet up as well. I'm on the website, because for names I won't remember. The professional poker player, which was Kevin, but as we mentioned, he could have a possibility of a very cocky, arrogant type, and I hope that's not true. The reason why I do like him is he looks like he's going to be a really big physical threat, and as we know, physical threats, they're usually one of the first to go in the house. And then another one of the guys for me, he kind of reminded me of Peter from the first season of Big Brother Canada, which was Jordan with the glasses.
Yeah.
And I know we were saying he's like the resident kind of nerd, the geek this season. But it'd be interesting to see how it plays out, and how the alliances start forming and all that kind of good stuff as well.
Yeah, Kevin better watch that he doesn't come across too intimidating to the other guys, or he's going to be out of there quick. So he's going to have to watch that.
I totally agree, and I think at the very beginning, I would focus on my social game at the very beginning, and even if I am a physical threat, I wouldn't show it right away. I would use it, keep it in my back pocket, and use it as competitions and the game got a little bit thicker and heavier down the line. But, you know, we can talk about all we want. It's very different once you get into that house. We don't know what they're dealing with. And I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, because, as we were saying, right after the house gets intros, we found out what one of the major twists are going to be this year. And right away we found out that everything is on lockdown. So they have no furniture in the house. They've got no food in the house. And all their personal belongings are locked away. Now, they can win them back or gain them back over time, but that was very interesting to see right away off the bat on the premiere episode. What did you think about that?
I loved it. I'm so excited to see what they have to do to earn them back. I think it'll just put a whole new aspect on the whole game itself, because it's almost like they're going to be turning into possibly personal issues rather than gaming issues. So I think that's actually pretty cool. Like, it's a whole nother wrench in the situation, so to speak. But yeah, that's going to be cool to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be, the first thing I thought about was, and I don't know why I thought about this, but when Arissa was telling the house, your personal belongings are gone, they were showing a lot of close-up face reactions, and a lot of them were the girls. And I thought, oh man, like to see them without their makeup and like all done up, because they're all done up right away to get in that house, and like that could be some scary stuff, right? But you never know. It'll be very interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, we call them Maybelline girls. You got those Maybelline girls, and then you've got those girls who look, pretty okay natural. So, yeah, right. It's fun to figure out who are the Maybelline girls.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. You never know.
Exactly.
That's hilarious. Perfect. So going on to go kind of more into the show, the first twist, again, that was a big twist. That came a little bit later on in the show, but one of the major ones was house guests finding out that they were all HOH off the bat. And what they had to do was they each had to go in the diary room, nominate two people for eviction based on nothing. Based on, I think they do intros at that time. I think they just did their intros in the circle, and that's it.
Yep.
So
Absolute first impressions. That is all they got.
that's it. You know, the old adage, never judge a book by its cover. Well, this is Big Brother. This year you're gonna have to right off the bat. So it made for very interesting TV. Very, very cool concept right off the bat. And so they all went in. They voted. The two top choices for house guests to be evicted was Cindy with an S. And I don't know. I know that's how you spell her name, but as many times as I say that, I can't stop. I just laugh. That's my immediate reaction. I don't know why. Why is that?
I wonder if she can even say her name is Cindy without repeating after pronouncing the word Cindy with an S. I wonder if she can say it without saying with an S.
Yeah, that's going to be a personal preference too, right? So that's kind of like when I was younger, my name's Rick, but I would say Ricky when I was younger, and I would say it's Ricky with a Y, not an I. Like, but that's what people would ask me to spell it. I wouldn't introduce myself like that.
Right.
So it's very interesting. So she was one on the block right away.
That's Julie with a J,
You mean not a G? Like, come on, really? So she was on the block right away, and as well, so was Risha. So Risha was the tall lady, blonde. Boobs. Boobs have their own Twitter account right away after the first episode, so I thought that was kind of funny. But I think it's kind of odd that not necessarily odd because it is a younger group, but I didn't like the fact that they were voting her out strictly for her age.
I agree. And I was going to say something a while ago about the whole age thing. I don't understand. I mean, from what I've been getting from a lot of fan feedback. A lot of people absolutely hate that there is a majority of all just young people, very young people, 20-ish people, and there's no age diversity in the house except for the 31-year-old and the 41-year-old. So, a lot of people dislike that. I mean, Big Brother has had some amazing older people, with Big Brother US. Jerry, I mean, that was the extreme other end, but Jerry was a lot of fun, and we've had it in years past, but the more recent years, we're not seeing the age anymore. And Evil Dick, I mean, what was Evil Dick in his 50s? Yeah. I mean, Bunky, we've had so many great older people through the years, and people are really sick of just the 20-somethings. So
you know why, and I can speak for them. I'm not in that age group, obviously, but I can speak for them because I feel like over time, a lot of them maybe all talk and not too much bite. And I think the older generation, the older house guests that will be on there, if they say something, majority of the time they mean it, and they're gonna follow through with whatever it is. So that's kind of, you get what you get. They're not there to show off for the cameras. They're not there to, majority of them aren't there to be famous and hope that they get some kind of deal or some kind of celebrity out of it afterwards, So
Oh, and I can't miss Rennie. I got a shout out to Rennie. Yes. I love her.
Rennie's great.
I love
she's
her.
Fantastic. She was amazing to have on that season, and that was the same season that Jesse was on there. So see those kind of people interact was pretty amazing.
Yes, it was great. Yes.
So from there we went on after that the two being nominated for eviction. We went straight into the POV ceremony. So they all kind of picked people's names out of the little baggie that they do, and it's a little raffle, and whoever wins and plays for the POV. I didn't see this one coming at all, to be honest with you, because that old adage, never judge a book by its cover. I did that, and I'm like, this girl Cindy ain't going far. This first episode, as soon as I saw that obstacle course, I was like, okay, one of these guys are gonna win it. But that just goes to show you how the game is like, is you can never count anyone out. is amazing. So we went from that competition. Risha had some problems with it. She's a very tall lady, so she had issues walking on the netting, getting her footing. You can see her struggling a lot within the competition. And some of the guys were trying to help her out, like, seeing if she was okay. So I thought that was really nice on there. And it's Canada, so we're going to be nice, and we're going to say sorry, and we're going to say thank you a lot. so I like that. But the competition was really cool. How did you think of that? How did you feel that competition was as the first POV competition?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great competition. The netting looked really difficult. I mean, doable, but it wasn't simple for by any means. But yeah, I mean, I had written in my notes just from watching the show last night, how in the world did Cindy get the numbers so fast? That just blew my mind. How did she get the numbers? Was it Kevin, I think, was over there, and he was methodically running all the different scenarios of number. How did she get it? I still don't understand how that happened.
And it was pretty much, well, I'm not sure what they would show, but it was pretty much on a first attempt, a first try, because what she was saying was in the DR, when there were voiceover in her comments, where I was listening for that lock. So anytime you have a combination, whether it's a briefcase or whatever it may be, once you're scrolling through, you can kind of hear the little clicking sound.
Yeah.
Yes. Whenever that
I wasn't sure what it was. Was that it? The clicking sound?
That's what it was. But that's what she said. So
like a combination lock.
Exactly. So that had to be it for her to get that quick.
Yeah, I'm like,
it looked like. Because for me, I would be thinking, I'd be going there, I'm like, okay, if I'm in front of that lock, like Kevin was, and I was looking, I'd be thinking about different scenarios for codes. Like, okay, it's Big Brother Canada 3, so there's going to be 3 on here. I don't know, like, what date is it today? Like, I'd be thinking about certain things like that.
Right.
That would never come into my mind, listening to a clicking sound.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
So I thought that was really smart on her end. And she was saying apparently that she's really good with numbers.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what kind of more of the brain teaser kind of puzzle-like.
She's really good with numbers, but not very good at all with letters, obviously. Cindy with an S.
Cindy with an S. But again, hey, that might be her parents' fault. I don't think she named herself in birth, but Cindy with an S. And you know what? If I were casting, I would say, okay, just because of that, you're going to be on the show.
Yeah, I guess that's what happened. Exactly.
That's what happened. That's it. So that's what happened. So she goes on. She wins the POV, and then now it's time for the POV ceremony. So she obviously saves herself in the POV ceremony, and the next person up to take her place was Peely. Now I want to say Pilar all the time. I see her name, but it's Peely. And I kind of joked around, and I said out there in Twitter when I was watching the show, and I was like, I think we have a new Rachel on our hands in terms of Big Brother Canada, because that laugh, within 30 seconds, I couldn't deal with it anymore. And she wasn't even in the house yet. That was just her intro video.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a little rough.
Her video, and I actually like her, I think, more as a person, seeing her the little bit I did in the house. Watching her video, I couldn't stand her right out the gate without even seeing the show. I couldn't stand her. Who goes on the show Big Brother and says in your intro video, oh, I trust everyone and I will never lie? I mean, what show does this girl think she's on? Really?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if she lasts in the house. It'll be very, very interesting to see how long she goes, what kind of alliances she makes. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see her lasting too long. I think she might be the casualty of the first evicted house guest. That's just me, because if I were voting, and I hope Canada votes this way, I hope that they vote for Risha to stay in, because, don't be discriminatory over age. The girl's, she's a good-looking lady. She's got some assets on her. She can make for interesting TV. I would rather keep her than keep Peely at this moment, because if I'm looking at this as a group scenario, I'm saying, okay, I've got, 10 other Peelys in the house in that young demographic age. I'm going to keep this one and see what she can get out of it, as a viewer at least.
Yeah, just from intro videos, I pegged Peely as the first one to go. So
really,
maybe she will be.
Wow. So come after Wednesday night's eviction episode, we might see if you're one on one for the nominees in terms of guessing of who's going to be voted out.
Maybe so, maybe so.
That'd be a good record to have. I'll tell you that much. So we have those two on the block, Risha and Peely. Is there anything on the show that we were just talking about how great the show was. Anything on the show that you didn't like, or you thought was weird, or you know?
Well, I guess the only thing I really thought was weird because would have to be Risha. I mean, I know we've talked a lot about Risha, but Risha really bugged me in one aspect, and that was the whole boobs and half nakedness. She
Mhm.
had such a cool story. Um,
Yes.
I don't. It's like who she really is in appearance is opposite of like what her story was.
Mhm.
I don't get her. I don't see
Yeah.
the need of why she almost ruined her chances of being this really cool mom type by putting herself out there that way. I didn't get it. I don't get
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a valid point, and because I remember watching that the intro video, and when they got to the part about like her past and how she had upbring her sister, and her parents both died from cancer early on. I was
Right.
like, wow, that's a really deep, that's a deep story, and you feel for her. So I really hope us compassionate Canadians, that's like another reason to keep her in the house because she's playing not only for herself but for her sister.
Right.
Um, and that's a great story. So again, like you said, to your point, it's kind of a bummer that she's got to project that kind of sexy. If you're sexy, she's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but you
Yeah.
necessarily don't have to have a half open shirt to be noticed.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. So hopefully, ideally, after Wednesday's episode, for me at least, hopefully Peely's out of there and Risha stays in. Same for you?
And I hope if she does stay, maybe she will kind of get the message that she put
Mhm.
herself out there a little bit too much, and maybe she will realize that she is way more likable if she pulls back a little bit. So let's hope for that anyway. Maybe the whole first impression of her was just for TV, hopefully. So maybe
Yeah.
maybe she is somebody we can get behind and really like her because I mean for what she's been through, she really does have a cool story and I mean I would love to root for her just for what she's been through.
I absolutely, I couldn't say better myself. I absolutely agree. Um, all valid points, and I really hope she pulls through with it. It'd be really interesting to see how far she gets in this game. If she pulls that sexiness, pulls that facade in a way back a little bit, and just play game. I think she's going to be a really great social player. She
Hmm.
said she's a waitress. I believe as well. She did like a server thing too.
Yeah.
So she's got the social stuff down on pat. Like you got to work it when you're a server. You got to make those tips. Got hey. So hopefully she stays a lot longer. Her social game picks up, and it'll be really interesting to watch. So in saying it, those two are evicted. Those two are nominated for eviction. Canada is the first HOH. So there's no one HOH for the first week. Canada is HOH. Live voting is online on the website. It is since almost done. I think it's done as of now, to be honest with you. Last time I checked earlier in the day, it said there was around 5 hours left. But it'll be really interesting to see what happens come tomorrow's eviction episode to see which one of them gets the boot, which one of them is gone, and to see kind of how this whole season plays out. I know it's really early on to say. I'm not one to give my prediction as who's going to win this early on. It's just the first episode. Do you have anyone that you would think that you would want to win?
Uh, I really can't say as I could peg a winner. It could go so many different ways because we just have had a first glimpse of these people. I mean, I've kind of already got some favorites. I love Godfrey. I think he's gonna be really fun to watch. I think Godfrey's going to be the fun guy, and I think, like I said before, I can't never say her name right, but Neha.
Yes.
Okay. I think she's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So
Mhm.
I sort of root for the people who make live feeds worth watching.
Mhm.
the people who are just in the house to not only to win a game, but to have a lot of fun while they're there too, because you've got millions of people watching you. And I hate nothing more than people who sit and sleep and do nothing in the house but are bumps on a log, knowing full well that they have millions of people watching them. And I'm like, part of the reason you're there is because you were picked because you were supposed to be fun and enjoyable to watch. So, yeah, I mean, those two are my picks as far as fun to be around, and because we feel like we're kind of there with them at times, so when I
Absolutely.
say fun to be around, I'm talking for all of us to be with watching live feeds. So I can't wait for Wednesday night for feeds
Yeah.
to spark up.
It's gonna be a great live feed. That's for sure. Starting Wednesday after the eviction episode, live feeds are up. It's gonna be really interesting to watch. We're gonna wrap up the show now. We're already on our 30-minute mark, which is pretty awesome. Time goes by really quickly when you're talking everything great. That's Big Brother. So ideally, what we're gonna be happening with PopGoes Big Brother Canada is that this is gonna be hopefully a weekly show, depending how Julsy and I's schedules work out. But we'll see you guys here next week. We'll Twitter out and send out through our Facebook group and our Twitters, all that kind of good stuff in terms of information of when we're going to be doing this. And we'll give a little bit further advance than it was today. But Julesy, great meeting you on here.
Hey, if the
Love
premiere's
talking to
any
you.
indication, it's going to be one heck of a great season. So I'm excited.
Absolutely, and we're gonna have some juicy stuff to talk about once
Oh,
this
yeah.
season kind of progresses. Awesome, Julesy. So, guys, we'll see you next week. We'll post a link to our social media sites, and we'll see you in a little while. Take care,
All
guys.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Julesy.